And hello. Here we are, another Tuesday. I don't know if you know, but the word in German is actually Dienstag, which means sort of like service. Dienst means service. So today is another service day, at least for me and for many others. Hello to everybody in the audience. I'm so glad you're here. And I'm especially excited today because of the guest that I'm having. And the guest is ready in the wings. But before I get to her, I know it's early where she's at. So I just want to give a big shout out and say, I'm so glad that you made it this early because I know it takes a lot and it means service. And this young lady that I have the honor today of welcoming is definitely service oriented. I've met her, I don't know, maybe a year ago. It feels like much longer than that, but probably about a year ago. And it all started with, of course, an event. So I met her through an event that the Los Angeles Tribune was doing. And ever since then, I've just noticed more and more how much she's giving. Now, you may have seen her on Instagram. She does a lot of fun little videos on Instagram. You may have seen her on one of the events that the Los Angeles Tribune has been helping to put together, sponsor, present, direct, or you may have seen her way before because she is a connector by heart. That, of course, means service. She also is, of course, absolutely, absolutely focused on empowering women and especially the divine feminine. Now, don't worry, gentlemen, that doesn't mean she does not care about you. She also does work with men. You should see what she does when it comes to manifesting, money, connecting, lots and lots of different things. So, without any further ado, I am now going to bring to you the one and only Adora Crystal Evans.
Hi, Natalie. Hi, Dr. Natalie. How are you?
I'm good. I need to ask, how are you? Because it's early where you're at.
It's early, and you know what? I have a new adopted puppy. So if he pops his head up, that's what I was doing ahead of time. He's whining, like, come give me my morning cuddles. I need this. I need that. So now I have him on a chair next to me, and we'll see how that goes. So.
That's awesome. I've got my cats in the room and I never know where they're going to jump.
Yeah, exactly. And he's like 45 pounds. He thinks he's 15, So
What kind of puppy is it?
he's a rescue dog. So I'm not for sure, but they think he has a lot of the same that Spuds McKinsey, that kind of dog, Spuds McKinsey dog. What is it called? Bull Terrier. There we go.
Yes. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So you've got a new puppy. That means you don't get any sleep.
Well, you know what? He's almost a year old. So we sleep, but he's just, he's part kangaroo. I think he's part kangaroo, part puppy. So he went to a trainer who was amazing for like 3 weeks, and we missed him a lot. But now he doesn't. He's still high energy, but he, stays in his place. But what he was doing is he was staying there whining. So
Oh,
that's why I
yes.
moved him. Yeah.
Yes. And
He's
not to
great.
go too much into, the pet situation, but my daughter's cat lately has started to, with this one toy. I don't know if he thinks it's now his prey or it was his baby and is dead, but he suddenly keeps whining about it. It's that, of course, he does it in the middle of the night too.
Oh my goodness. You know what? I know you said don't go too much into the pets, but I think especially after all that we went through being in lockdowns,
Hmm.
I know my dog is so good for my nervous system. You know,
Yes.
like touch is one of my main love languages, and I have that really strong in my household. The other people in my household don't. You know, so I'm always like the cat on them, like come on, come on. And this dog we share that. And so,
Hmm.
you know, sometimes I'll just get on the couch with him and I'm just and I come up and I have that oxytocin hit, like
Yes.
when you cuddled your babies when they were little, you know.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I think they're really quite magical for those of us who enjoy them. Not everybody's called to animals, but those who are, you get it. You get it.
Yes.
It's very
Yeah.
good
And
for our
it's
spirit.
funny because touch, you said because of what we've been through, but I think touch is something that is a human need.
Mm,
And yet we've been trained to avoid touch.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
one of those things. Like I remember, I just moved back here, but especially in the U.S., I always had to warn people. I always went up to them and said, "I'm a hugger. Is that okay?" And
Yeah.
and I really don't want to announce it. I just want to hug somebody when I feel like it. So,
Right, right,
so
right. No, I get it. I grew up in the South and my nanny hugged everybody, and but not every culture is like that. And I'm speaking even many sub-family cultures,
yes,
subcultures, and it is interesting when you got it, like you just want to, and you have to go, okay, is it okay? And then you're reading their body language. Some people are like, all right. little,
yeah.
little sigh from the distance. Yeah, you're so wonderful, though. I bet even people who aren't normally into hugs were like, you know what? Yes, I need it. And they always, I even had one friend in my 20s that would say, look, I know I always get all weird about your hugs, but I actually really like them, you know, and
Yes.
I need, it's just, you're right, our nervous systems. And the reason I said what we went through is me
Mhm.
specifically. I love, I think during all that COVID time, I found myself, especially in the beginning, just so glad to be able to go outside and watch a butterfly or, you
Yes.
know, watch the breeze in the trees or anything that would just kind of stabilize and calm things down when there were so many things going on that were uncertain.
Mhm.
And I mean, I definitely had a deep sense of everything would be okay. We've done a
Right.
lot of work on ourselves, right? But
Mhm.
all of us, I mean, all of us, I think your nervous system, just like any great athlete, you know, you have your on times where you go, go, go. But to really be a great athlete, you need that recovery time. You need the
Yes.
rest. You need the stretching. And it made it very obvious, you know, like you can get by without it and still fly. But I think that period of time made it obvious for a lot of us
Mhm.
that, you know what, I do need to just kind of hug a tree right now. You know, hi
Oh,
Dan. Yeah.
Dan is back. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. By the way, quick plug, Dan's going to be on the show in the near future as well. So just so
Oh,
that everybody know that part. But
awesome.
talk to me because you just mentioned, active person, performer, all of those things. And I I may be wrong, but I think I saw that you sometimes like run little marathons, and I know you post a lot about going to the gym. What's up with that?
Yeah. Yeah, so we could go really deep with that. We could go
Don't
really
go
deep.
deep.
But let's start at the basic level. I mean, I really stand in that our bodies are our temples, and um, that they're the place where our spirit meets our highest self, you know, where our soul, spirit, mind, all of that connect. And so, and also I'm really, really into the feminine energy and
Mhm.
understanding its part in all of life and creation and in my body as a woman and manifesting. And one thing that I found is for a lot of years, I'll get back to the gym. What's the gym got to do with this? But, I found for a lot of years that I was in my head or
Mhm.
even disassociated from my body for different
Mhm.
reasons,
Yes.
right? From
Yes. Yes.
past experiences,
Mhm.
from media, from what I was projecting was beautiful and what I was
Right.
trying to wrangle this picture into. And what I found is one of the greatest gifts that has moved not only my career
Mhm.
forward. And I say my career because people don't always connect it. They think they're so, they don't have time to work on their bodies, but was coming back home
Mhm.
into my own body. And when I say come back home, I mean spiritually, mentally, feeling my feelings, knowing when my gut is telling me something and honoring it. And so one of the biggest gifts for me is coming and really squeezing into this temple and loving my body. And I don't feel you can get the signals of what your spirit is trying to tell you, or your highest self or your guidance system, if you're at war with the machine that is giving you the nudges, and that if you're always
Mhm.
at war with it, right? And so I spent a lot of years healing body shame, body hate, body disassociation. And in my early years, that looked one way. And then now, like when I say one way, it may have been over exercising because I don't like my body,
Mhm. Mhm.
eating a certain way because I'm trying to have the thigh gap, that was
Right.
popular back then. Thank gosh that went away for a little bit, but because I'm petite and my thighs have curves and I love them. But anyway, so rather than it coming from that place,
Mhm.
where I stand from and in is that, one, I love my body. I have a big energy and a big vision for my life, and I want the vitality and energy to match that. And in order to do that, it takes caring for my body so that it can be strong, so that it can
Mhm.
move. And I've always loved movement. It's part of my healing. I am an energetic being. I came in that way. And so also working online so much
Mhm.
and sitting so much, back to the animals, it's kind of, I relate it to when you put a dog that really is a worker dog or meant to move, and you put them in a cage all day,
Mm.
and then, or you keep them in the house all day, they chew things up, they get destructive. Like, I'm like, I will chew the walls if you don't give me, like, if I don't move this energy, so I do end up in the gym quite a lot, and it's another type of releasing energy. I
Mhm.
even call it my body prayer. Often I'm listening to either my Queen Manifesto, it's loaded with affirmative statements, vision, where I'm going, or I'm
Mhm.
listening to music that is embodying the feeling that I'm looking to embody, of strength or
Right.
power or inspiration, Yeah.
I have a follow-up question on that.
Yeah.
Because I do agree, the body is my temple. Now, every body is different.
Yeah.
And you enjoy the gym. I don't.
Yeah.
I've tried it. I don't like the gym. Now, I love yoga. I love meditating. I love walking. I do all of those things. One thing that, and I think I know how you feel about this, but I don't want the audience to think right now that they have to be thin and
Yeah. No,
slender in
no,
order to be in touch with their bodies.
not
So,
at all.
I
Yeah,
mean,
that's really
yeah.
important. No, in fact, I don't think, I mean, the very base of my whole journey was,
Mhm.
I love, and it still is, that we must love our bodies exactly where we are and come from the place of love. So,
Yes.
whether you exercise or you don't, whether you feel like you've dropped the ball or you haven't, whether you feel, yeah, so it's definitely not about a size or anything. For
Mhm.
me specifically, and that is so important to make clear. I'm glad you brought that up. For me specifically, I really love at this point seeing what's possible, where can I
Mhm.
take my body, but it's from a place of I just love it. I love my body. I love being in it. There were a lot of years that I just ate what I wanted and didn't didn't even work out that much. I think I did ballet bar once a week, and it
Mhm.
was purely just to see what happened. And
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
from
That's
all
funny.
of
Yeah.
that work, I still, every time I saw myself get a little fluffier, I felt so much love toward myself.
Mhm.
And then I went, okay, I have a big vision. I have a lot of energy. Like, what if I, started feeding and caring for myself to match that, right? To have the
Right.
strength for that. But if I ever felt or feel myself going into anything that I'm doing being driven by that I need to look a certain way or be a
Mhm.
certain way, I'll start evaluating what am I doing and getting rid of it. And yoga, movement. I mean, these for a lot of years, the only thing I did was Zumba or jazzercise or dance because it
Mhm.
was fun and it felt good. So I think it's more about if you're going to your, if you're going to choose to work out your body for heart health, for caring for it, for loving for it, that's the first. Like the seed and intention
Mhm.
needs to be because I love you, because I'm honored to be here, because this is my home and I want to care for it, right? Because and then whatever you choose to do, I think finding something that naturally,
Yeah.
you enjoy.
Yeah.
And at first you may have to get past some things if you have stories that like, you know, walking is terrible and being sore is terrible. And you may still have to move beyond, but I would say like find something that you love. But
Yeah.
yeah. And then the
Absolutely.
reason I said we could go ahead. What were you gonna say?
No, no, and I agree. And it's also, you mentioned earlier the butterfly outside. Like
Yeah.
for me, it's really important to exercise, but exercise outside, for example, riding
Mm.
my bike, taking a walk, jogging, all of those things, but usually outside. Because
Yeah.
I need that grounding, I need that connection with Mother Earth. So,
Yes.
everybody's a little different, but inside, a gym it just doesn't work for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I have both sides. I got, weights. I used to teach
Mhm.
classes, and someone introduced me in a gym to body pump. They needed body
Oh,
pump
yeah.
instructors, and they were going to certify me. And I just saw my body and my posture change, and I fell in
Mhm.
love with it. I fell in love with the ability to sculpt our bodies and the way
Yeah.
before it felt so hard just to like sit up straight all the time, and yeah, but I think it's really about what you love. And when I said we could go really, really deep, I'll just jog into this area. So I do a lot of work with the feminine energy. And one of the core things that we look at when we're going deep into that is whenever you're in your own mother's womb. And so the things that happen or the experience there and things that get programmed into our subconscious mind. And so one of the things we look at um, is solar wound and lunar wound. And so the lunar wound um, is whenever someone is afraid or something is going on in life, the way that they approach life is maybe they pull back and they get really introverted and they get really emotional and they're really just, and it's kind of like in the womb, they're like, I'm just going to stay here. It's better in here. It's safe in here. I like it in here. And then the solar wound, and why'd I go to wounds? There's healing for all of it, but the solar wound is get me out of here. I'll escape at all cost. And they're usually like they push through life, they drive through life, they, are relentless. And a lot of women have, vacillate between both
Mhm.
of these in the wounded side. Now there's a beautiful, healthy place to stand in where that lunar personality may be more intuitive, more in touch with their emotions, more empathic, more, and that's the healed side of it, right? So almost
Mhm.
every type has a gift and a challenge, right? How it's birthed in the challenge, but then there's a gift in all of it, or it's amplified in the challenge, right? And then that solar wound, which I find so interesting. A lot of times those people are super fit, it's the way they deal with life, and they can be doing it from even a wounded place, to not deal with, okay, forget it, I'm going to get out of here, I'm going to keep it moving, I'm going to get life going, right? From the healed place, they're in touch with both sides, and they're also it's coming from energy, from from intention, from inspiration, and from a different place. But I think knowing that and kind of figuring some of that out and doing some of the work around it to heal that. And lots of people do different things. I know you do a lot of healing modalities, but there are rebirthing processes. There's all kinds of science just showing how things that were imprinted in the womb that we took on without words, without, when you're actually a part of your mother, you're actually in her body, and she's receiving this energy and processing things that we may not have words to articulate them, right? But that they can be kind of driving a part of your personality or something. So when you said, like, why do you work out? Well, because the cord was around my neck for 32 hours, okay, when my mom was birthing. And it's like, it's so funny and cool, the access to information, we have.
It is. And the healing is I think crucial for all of us, because we come in sort of as blank slates, but there is that imprint, that energetic imprint. There's a subconscious that is already laden with certain ideas. Now, in today's world, we don't, or in the coaching world, I'm going to say, there are certain words you're not supposed to use, right? One is work, and one is wounds. We're using both of them right now, because this is real stuff that you're talking about. It's not hypothetical. It is, there are wounds. There is a little bit of work to do. How do you specifically, because like you said, we all have our different ways of helping mentees, of helping ourselves first, because we need to work on ourselves first. But how do you deal, or how do you help your mentees, the people you work with?
I'm going to try to move my dog. Go ahead. You're going to have to sit over there. Go ahead. How do I help them? Yeah,
and especially because you talk about the feminine energy, but you also work with men. So I'm going to throw two questions at you, and because Dan's always in the audience. So how do you work with that? What is your, don't give away all of the secret sauce, but what's your main approach?
Yeah, I wish I could give away all the secret sauce in one. That would be a miracle. I would get to be really just a miracle worker all the time. And I think we all do kind of move in miracles. And you bring up a good point about wounds and work. And those, I just need to say, they're just labels. Like whether I say feminine energy, masculine energy, and some of us are like, I don't like labels. I'm one of those people too. But sometimes we need words to articulate so that we can move the energy of something. And it's just an agreement around a word so that we can get on the same page and then communicate through things. So one of the basic ways that I help people, it's part of the reason I wrote my book, The 30-Day Majestic Money, The 30-Day Femme Manifesting Game. Oh, look at that. So even though that particular game and that book was based on a money manifesting challenge, all the deep work was around worthiness, because we'll only allow ourselves to receive what we actually feel worthy of receiving, whether it's love, money, relationships, And so that book has an exercise a day for moving and releasing things that no longer serve, and also allowing in deep receptivity and connection to the womb, to the spirit, to the feminine energy. My dog is going a little nuts. And so I may have to get up and let him outside in a moment. We'll see. But So, you know, the main modality, though, and the starting point, it's beautiful that we started with the nervous system, that we started with the bodies, is the masculine energy for the point of labels, masculine, feminine. That masculine is that go, do, achieve, shine, be out there, and I have an incredibly strong inner masculine that I love. I call him my inner boy, my inner guardian. I
Okay.
love that part of myself so much. We all have masculine and feminine, yin yang. You may have heard it, different ways. And I also have a really strong, sensitive feminine that is receptive, intuitive, compassionate, empathic, and so I found that there was a long period of my life and a very specific period where I had gone through a divorce and it was a really hard time, and I went into my deep strength like a lot of mothers do, and I was so strong that there was just not a lot of room for beauty, for feminine, for softness, for receiving. And what I noticed is that, I was pushing and pushing and driving, and everything was like this uphill battle on a big tall hill, and I was doing it, and my body was ripped, and I was but I was missing, and I didn't realize it until, I'll tell you what happened. I chose to go to I was feeling like, man, I'm missing some part of myself. So I went into a burlesque class. Okay.
Okay.
I know. I went into a burlesque class, and I remember feeling a little nervous, getting ready to walk in, like, what's going to happen? I'm going to be with all these people. And, as we started moving, the space ended up, the instructor was great. The women were all very welcoming, and, there was nothing weird. But as we started moving and I started to feel the music and the character and just the confidence that, the way the energy felt in my own body, how like you don't even realize you're missing something
Mhm.
until
Yeah.
like it washes in. And
Yeah.
then I remember walking outside and the colors were brighter,
Mhm.
and it felt like the wind was flirting with me. Yeah, I say that in my book. I just, all this creative energy, my heart opened in a different way. I was certainly already, everything I was doing was driven by love to protect
Mhm.
my daughter, to
Mhm.
create, a great life for her. But I had leaned so heavily on my masculine and also was so in fight or flight that there was no room for just, beauty, and not everybody's going to get that in a burlesque class, just like not everybody loves the gym, right?
Right.
But
Right.
for me, I've always loved velvets and lace, and and none of that was even remotely, not even a tiny bit important to me in that
Mhm.
moment, in those moments. And this kind of restoration happened. And then what I noticed is I started manifesting again. And so instead of it being all drive and push and like I'm convincing for every opportunity and I'm working so hard for every contract, I would start to get little inklings of, oh, wouldn't it be really fun if, and then boom, clients would start coming in, opportunities for, work that
Mhm.
times my check and was in the center of my passion and joy, and like I'm not there just working hard because I'm a serious mom who's going to take
Right.
care, right? Like, and I say that it felt like before I was driving up this mountaintop, and then when I opened the feminine energy, so I didn't say I just flopped and went all feminine
Mhm.
and no masculine, but
Right.
I opened it, and there's that congruence and restoration. It felt more like a helicopter flying me to the top of the mountaintop, where there's a handsome man ready to serve me, and there's a plate with, a nice table with a red rose. And
Right.
I had more moments
Yeah.
like that. And I'm going to tell you, I like that better.
Yeah.
I like it so much better. I like it better when there's this flow and this energy. My dog is ringing his bell, so I have to let him outside.
That's awesome because we're taking a break anyhow. I'll see everybody back in a moment.
Welcome to the Los Angeles Tribune page. Here you will find original news programming, exclusive digital events, and shows that are directly from the community. At the Los Angeles Tribune, we believe in giving a voice to the voiceless. We are proud to be the only national brand to empower everyday people to make a difference. Since 1886, our reputation has been built on truth and responsibility. Thank you for watching and making a difference.
For general inquiries, contact today. Thank you on behalf of the Los Angeles Tribune team.
And of course, we have been engaged already in an amazing conversation. We're going to continue, so don't worry about it. I do want to mention, other than what you just saw about the Los Angeles Tribune, as you know, we have many more shows on our network. So be on the lookout for Rex Sykes, for Michelle Quevedo, for, of course, the Smile person, Mary Smile. So just be on the lookout. And as you know, you can always engage with us. So I love everybody in the audience being here. I also want to point out, and you may have heard this, and maybe Adora and I will talk about it for a moment as well, if we get to it, because there are also other subjects. But as you may know, there is an event coming up that Adora Evans and the Los Angeles Tribune are putting together, and that is related to Think and Grow Rich. Talk about manifesting, talk about putting it all together. So I want to go back to Adora, and I want to continue the conversation about the feminine and the masculine energy, because what you just mentioned, Adora, was so interesting. And I think a lot of people lack that part. If we're only one thing, either feminine or masculine, we're not complete. So if we're wanting to manifest, not only do we have to know what we're worth and we have to love ourselves, which is our birthright, but we also need to have some fun. We need to be able to focus on work. We need to have fun. We need to be sensual. We need to be able to have relationships, and we also need time alone. So when you've just been talking, I've been thinking about all those things, and you're out in the public a lot. And you do a lot of events. You help, of course, thousands of women and men. Mm-hmm. So how do you feel about being private, meaning the conversation between being an introvert and being an extrovert? What are you?
Yeah, well, I'm actually both. I'm as introverted as I am extroverted. Like for a long time, I thought I was mostly introverted, right? But the more we get to know ourselves and do this work and observe, I used to have these big moments where I'd be on, out, and then I would crash and disappear for months at a time, and then I realized that that's because that's my own internal rhythm, that the preferences are, as much as I'm out, at the very least, I need my own in private reflective integration time. Yeah.
And then we can manifest, right? I mean, a lot of people talk about the law of attraction. They think it's one thing, they do another. You have worked, of course, on The Secret as well. But I want to go also back to your book, Majestic Money. And you talk a lot about majestic. You talk about wealth in the sense of rich and queens. So how do you believe manifesting works?
Yeah. Well, so we just covered a lot there that I want to talk about. So first, earlier you said sensual, and I like to say we need to be tapped into our senses, which is sensual, right? And so a lot of times when we're all in our head, we're in logic, We're very brilliant. We've read a million books. We have our parents had the voices in there. We have our grandparents. We have, the movies that we saw that made us know to be skeptical because whatever, you were watching a murder mystery or something, right? So there's so much brilliance and wonderful wisdom up there in our mind, but there are other parts of our body system, of our guidance system, that help us to know our own picture. And so if you're only up here, or you're in fight or flight in your nervous system all the time, then in fight or flight, other systems shut down. And, so bringing ourselves back into, okay, but also what is my gut telling me, and what is my heart telling me, and calming the nervous system, whether that's through something like yoga or painting or a hot bath, or sitting outside watching a butterfly, or petting your animal, or there are lots of different access points. You can just Google 100 ways to calm down, right? Or to calm your nervous system, and you'll find something on there that you could try and resonate with, because from that space we're receiving, right? And so the senses are important, but it's a holistic kind of system, and it could sound super complex, and it's really not. I mean, it's more about getting to know, okay, who am I really? What do I desire really? Not what do I desire so that then I can get the love and the accolades, right?
Yes.
Not like, yeah, maybe, but going straight to, I want the love and the connection. I want this experience of impact, knowing what is it that you want really, and trying to unstick things that are based on, when I have that, I'll be worthy, right? Trying to get trying to get clear. So that is a process that can feel complex, because we have a whole council in our mind. You have conditioning but getting really clear about what is it that I want. And then getting in environments, getting your internal environment in the place that you're really able to receive your messages. Because when you're clear about what you want, the universe will, your mind, even if you're not into the universe language, the reticular activator, your mind will begin to sift and sort and find the resources. It's like Google. I heard my friend Zahara say, it's like putting into Google, what you're searching for. And just like when you put something in the browser and you go over to another page and you're doing life, it's constantly going, how do I get that done? Where's the resources? And then ping, it'll pop up, go here, go there, go. But you've got to be aligned enough to hear it and notice it. You've got to be aligned enough to at least identify a starting point. This is what I desire. And then the willingness to take inspired action. So when someone is too in the feminine, or what we called earlier, the lunar wound, you will, think and imagine and want and do all this. But then if you're just unwilling to take any action, like you want your soulmate, but you don't want to go outside of your house, you're ordering everything on Amazon, you're not going to go on any dating sites, you're not doing a thing. I mean, your only option is your postman. Okay. It's the Amazon delivery guy, or, so my point is, it's not all about action and pushing, but it's also not all about, just I'm going to sit around and meditate forever. It really, however, I would say the intention is it is the most important part. I've heard Abraham Hicks say, if you don't have a clear intention, if you're not connected to that source, it's like you can take a vacuum and run it over and over on the floor. If it's not plugged in, it's going to look like it's making marks. You may get really sweaty. You're working really hard, but it's not really going to do anything. Right. So you got to get that source plugged in. And I end up focusing on feminine, and then I'll bring it to men. I end up focusing on the feminine a lot, because I think our society is for a long time, we've been mostly like go, do, achieve, have. There is no time to rest. Busy is a badge of honor. And, and people are just, me specifically, missing that
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
feminine connection, to that inner ability to receive. And not all people, right?
Right.
Usually the people that are super connected to their energy may need to take more action, right? Or
Mhm.
they may need
Mhm.
a little more masculine structure. But in general, I've just worked with thousands of women who are really, and even men that are really all drive and push and burnt
Mhm.
out and uninspired and not connected. So
Yeah.
for women, when we connect into our feminine, it's like magic, happens. And men and women. I mean, I say that there are more reviews from men about my book than women. So when I'm working with people, the
Right.
starting point is that, okay, how do we calm our nervous system?
Yes.
How do we remove shame stories, things that would make us feel we can't calm down, we're not allowed
Mhm.
to calm down, we don't deserve to calm down, right? And do it in a succinct way. And then how do we align and connect in with our authentic desires, right? And then now, what are the inspired
Mhm.
actions to take from that? So the process is always around that. And
Mhm.
some people find it in the book, they find it in my course, or they find it working in a group. And then with men, and part of the reason I'm specifically this year teaching just a group of women in the spiritual, sacred rites of
Mhm.
passage around divine feminine are because I'm doing so many things that feed my business, that feed
Right.
working with incredible, powerful men in business rooms, in our events, Think and Grow Rich, Can You Really Think and Grow Rich tour. I get to be with a lot of amazing people
Mhm.
like Mo Rock, right? Like John Osoroff, and it feeds that part of myself.
Right.
And I love that. So one of the things that I did this year to really ground in that I also get all this time with my feminine and in my spiritual beliefs and holding space is I started a Rich Queen membership where we're only
Right.
doing things like creating ceremony,
Mhm.
like going in and figuring out doing rebirthing processes, just it's all the spiritual elements. And that was for me first. It was for me
Mhm.
first. And then I've getting certified to teach a certain type of yoga that is very feminine. It's like women around the fire, very
Mhm.
ancient, very primal. And that was another thing,
Awesome.
so I think it's important, especially if you like business and you're super powerful and you're on the go and you're in that power mode, right? We all have seasons where there's
Right.
a lot of power flowing through us, and it's outward and it's
Yeah.
busy. I think it's important to have okay, this is how I'm caring for
Mhm.
as a habit my
Mhm.
spirit. So Natalie, I know you resonate and you have so much to add and say.
No,
So
and it is so funny. It is so funny because I was talking the other day, I forget to whom, but to me, and I love that you just mentioned spirituality here at the end, because to me, there are two things, emotions and spirituality. I think emotions are the glue of the body, mind, and soul.
That's a
Everybody
great way
talks
to
about
say
body,
it.
mind, and soul, but we're still needing to talk more about the emotions. And you did that earlier. We need to actually feel emotions. And
Mhm.
then spirituality for me is usually what is missing in people's life, whether that is meditating or going to church. I mean, whatever your spiritual aspect is, but we need more of that. The void, I think, that we often feel is that. And
Mhm.
you mentioned the alignment, the when we're on Google trying to figure out, the resources, I think when we're not spiritual, we sometimes get distracted by the shiny object. When we're
Mhm.
not in tune, when we're not in alignment. So that's always a danger. You did talk about rich, and you did talk about queen and
Yes.
meditation.
Mm.
So now I want you to bring it together because
Yes.
you do have a special gift. Let's talk about activation.
Yes.
So how do you get activated to the manifesting ability? Is there, when we hear activation, very often we think of, you need to meditate and somebody's going to plug some energies into you and then you get activated energetically.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about? Is that
In
what
a way. And I'm glad, let's go rich and let's go queen. That's an important piece. So rich is, to me, rich life, whether it's rich chocolate or rich experience, the rich
Mhm.
feeling of snuggling with your child, the
Mhm.
rich feeling of standing in the middle of the Grand Canyon or at the ocean, so rich is relative to you. Just like in
Mhm.
Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill talked about money, and it absolutely can include money, but it's relative to you. So it may be a tent in Bali for
Right.
you. It may be a mansion or a place in Hawaii, right? But it's whatever for you feels really rich. One of the things
Mhm.
that makes me feel rich is the idea that I can hang out with who I want to hang out with. I can go where I want to go. I can do what I want to do,
Right.
right? I
Yeah.
can help who I want to help. But it's also the feeling of really great food, really rich relationships,
Mhm.
rich spiritual connection, rich. So that's going to feel different. I love beautiful clothes. I love velvets. I love
Yeah.
travel, right? And that's also rich. So first of all, that is very relative to you. And knowing what that is so important. And then I use the phrase queen because I
Hey, can I
really,
can I stop you for
yes,
one second before we go
absolutely.
to Queen?
Yes.
Because I think what you said is just so crucial. I mean, part of the work that I know you do, that I do as well, is just cutting out all of the stuff that is socially conditioned. Rich doesn't mean you have to have $10 million because your neighbor has
That's
$10 million.
right.
So I
That's
love
right.
how you just described that. And earlier you said, what are your real goals? It's like
Yes.
we gotta just clear all
Yep.
that stuff about, you need to be on TV. No, you don't. You might be the best gardener around. That's wonderful. People need gardeners.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's like it doesn't have to be in the limelight and all of that and making millions. If you feel rich, there's this wonderful saying, and I'm gonna botch it a little bit. I know you'll resonate with it. It's this little story about a man and the grandfather and his son, and his no, not his son, obviously, but they're going out to his grandson. They're going out to the lake, and the grandson is like, you know, all my friends have so much money. They have a villa and they have a swimming pool, and he lists all of that. And then the grandfather says, "Well, look around you right now. You
Mm.
right now own the stars.
Oh.
You don't your swimming pool is not limited because you're at the lake or you're at the ocean. So
Mm.
it's always in the perspective, and it's just such a wonderful story. I botched completely, but
Yeah, but I got it. I love it.
yeah,
And
I
what a
know
great,
it's so true.
I
Yeah,
mean, for all of us to feel our own abundance,
yeah,
such a great, it is perspective. It
yeah,
really is. And you're right. I think Jim Carrey is the person that said, I wish you would have everything that you want, so you know that what you actually want. And his
exactly.
idea behind that is like, you're chasing this money. And I even remember having a small version of this when I first wrote my book and I started
Hmm.
getting the thank you letters. I think it was actually when I first started coaching, and it
Hmm.
had always
Hmm.
been a vision for me to help people in that way.
Right.
And I started getting these letters and they felt good. I loved receiving them, but there was also this moment of, and this can't fill me. It can't fill
Hmm.
me. Like whatever I thought it was finally like, listen, I'm still out contributing and I
Hmm.
love it and I'm
Yeah.
called to it. But there's a certain feeling of that I thought it was going to do. And I realized in that moment, it doesn't matter if I get as popular as Oprah and get as many letters as she does, there are not enough letters in the world to fill completely that feeling of completion, connection, wholeness, right?
Hmm.
And so
Hmm.
that is up to each of us to figure it out and to figure it out sooner, because the sooner you figure it out, it's like life is made of many moments. Like right now, we just spent so many minutes at the end of the day, and we'll say, how was that hour? Oh, it's great. I felt great. Well, then we'll go on and we'll have some hours. And at the end of the day, we'll go, how was my day? And you'll be like, wow, that was a great day. Or it was started out good and then it went shitty, excuse my language. But here's what happened. And then you go, then you take those days and you put them together to weeks and you look back, how was my week? How was my month? How was my year? How was my life? Right? So our life isn't this one grand moment. It's these tiny little moments all put together. It really is. And it's hard to see it that way. It sounds so simple, but if you can take it that way and go, am I living the life that I'd be happy with right now? Because if you're not, and even, the funny thing is the source of your unhappiness may be, I'm not happy with this. Right. You may be the freaking source because you're always not happy with what you have and always thinking about, I'd be happier if, right? So looking at what is happening inside of me right now, how am I feeling? And I'm not, again, we have to integrate our feelings to be healthy. So I'm not saying, body slam your feelings into positivity or, paint it with sparkles and glitter. You still want to work with them, but really managing the tiny moments and learning to feel so rich and so connected right now. That creates the content. And I know when I was younger, I was scared that, well, then what if I never create anything? Because I'm so happy with my life that I'm just not, but that's not going to happen at all. All right. But when those big moments come, the good news is that the content, the habits that you have of how your life is good, this just becomes a really awesome, milestone moment, but it's not the only moment and everything else is dark and sucky around it. Right. And that's the way most of us are designing it because you're putting off, I'll spend time with my family. I'll take a hot bath. I'll allow myself meditation once I get to this moment. So we're living these dull lives if you're living it that way rather than managing the moments. And now the queen. So queen or queendom, I believe each of us, we came into this earth with an assignment and you were assigned to this identity, Natalie, Dr. Natalie, Adora, whatever Dan is here, you've been assigned and you're the guardian of this, life, this kingdom, this queendom. You have a certain amount of gifts, talents, resources. And so I think for women, it started because I thought there was a lot of princess energy in the culture. Like Princess Jasmine is so beautiful. Like she gets to wear a little crop top. She has her long hair, everybody's vying for her. And all the princesses that grew up, they're changing it now because they're listening, right? And we're listening, but they're always beautiful and all the men are vying for the princess and trying to save her and daddy rescues her. Everybody rescues her, right? And then the queen, when you see the queen, she's got a mole on her lip. She's, just stodgy and her man, she's bitter. She's bitter. And her man has a harem of beautiful women. Who wants to be the queen, right? Who wants to be the queen if that's what it looks like, right? But the truth is that when we step into ownership, you go from, and I still love signs and synchronicities and I get them all day long, but you go from, give me a sign. What should I do? Give me a sign. What's my purpose? It's totally okay if you have moments like that, but you go from living in help me, rescue me, protect me, pamper me, give to me, to powerful queen that says, I want to eat. I want to feed. There's gold over there and I want to mine it. I want to build over there. And so what's part of your queendom? That's your relationships, your talents, your business career, your body, your resources, your money, it's all yours. And the only person responsible for it is you. So when you step into queendom, I'm the queen of my queendom. I'm the king of my kingdom. It's so much more powerful to take steps in faith and authority And thank goodness, like however you all feel about J-Lo or Beyonce, I love the way they're representing Queen. She still gets to dress beautiful. She still has her sensuality and all of that. And I think it's an important reclamation, and stepping into complete Jocko or Goggins would call it, complete extreme ownership. But it's owning, this is my life. These are my choices. Whatever is happening here is the sum total of my past choices and thinking. Whatever life you have right now, you've been a certain character in life, and that character has that life, all of it, right? Grew up a certain way, acted a certain way, made certain choices, dresses a certain way, does certain things. So when we can look at that, sometimes it's like, oh man,
oh my God, what I do?
What did I do? Right? I'm so embarrassed. Shut the curtains. Show over. We need a reset. No, but it's not like that at all. It can feel a little like that, but it is so powerful because then you can go, okay, now what am I going to do? Who am I going to be? What do I need to shift? What is the character that has a meaningful, rich life the way that I want? And it's not easy. Like there are times, especially right now, I am training for a bikini competition. I've always wanted to do it. It took me a really long time to find people who were about health in that, and that make sure you don't mess up your hormones or your mental, emotional health, right? Like there's a really healthy way to do it, but there are a lot of unhealthy ways to do it, right?
Yeah.
So that means I'm spending 2 hours in the gym, plus I'm dedicated to stretching, plus I'm, walking my dog every day, and I'm committed to being a present mom. I'm committed to writing another book. I'm committed to all these things. And there are days where I'm like, I'm just doing my best to keep my word about all the things that I said mattered to me.
Yeah.
And I'm not getting it all today. It's not happening today. Right. But the practice of the habits are what have me go at the end of the day. Was this a day that would be a meaningful life for me? If this was all I did I? And for me, that means, did I hug my babies, my children? Was I kind? Did I connect spiritually? Did I do work that was valuable? Was I a contribution?
Right.
So I have to anchor it in, or my personality, I'll just bulldoze and keep working because we're in a season of working, right? And I got to get somewhere. There's a part of my habits that, will just work because I'm doing it for my kids, but I'm missing my kids while I'm doing it for my kids. And that's no longer.
That is so important what you just said, because I know a lot of people, they will say, well, I'm doing this for my kids, and the kids never see them. And the kids can actually say, I wish I had a dad. I wish I had a mom. But all they get is sometimes a note on the phone. And that's just an example, of course, because the other piece that you mentioned is, that part breaks my heart because I see that every day. But the other thing that you said, when you don't achieve it all, and same here. There are days when I'm like, what just happened? The list is still here. What happened? But at least I know I took my daughter someplace.
Yeah.
However, not to fall into that vicious cycle, because there are still a lot of people who go into that vicious cycle. I didn't achieve. I didn't do it. My list has 10 things. I only did 2. And I think that's, again, where you say alignment, where we're out of alignment, where we're not realizing what's important.
Well, listen, COVID, and that's so important because that's another form of being toxic. And I did all of those things. I did all those things. My boys, I was out busy trying to build a life and be something. And their grandparents really raised them a lot. And I missed a lot. And it was heartbreaking, right? Yeah. To realize that. So don't do it. Right. Yeah. But I'm thinking of like when COVID first came out and I was writing my book, I was putting it out. And then suddenly I'm a 3rd grade teacher too. Right. And my daughter's home and she was really accustomed to my full attention because I shut down I work hard when she's gone, but then I shut it down when she's there. And now suddenly she's here all the time. I'm not, and like the rest of the world, I'm knowing I need to provide financially because we don't know what the heck is going on in the world, right? And so the times I'm needed, she's needing me. And I remember just going, all right, and I think it was my friend Mesa that helped me with this, but I remember going, all right, God, you gave me this book. I birthed it. I want to help people. You also gave me this real live baby, right? I have 2 babies here. Yeah. And I'm like, so I need to take care of the gift that you've given me right now. And I need you to get your PR team and take care of the baby, the book. I need you to send things out there. And I need to trust that you're going to move it. And I remember 10 things would have been on my list before. I had to get okay with 2. Like if 2 things get done today, I had to get more flow, more ease, right?
Yes.
A little. Yes. And then as much as I've said flow and ease, I've become even more rigorous with my habits. So I have less, like I'm almost relentless with certain habits. And in my past, that felt like a jail. Wait, I have to do this at this time. No, I'm a flow person. I need the freedom to follow my intuition, right? But where I am now is that there are certain habits that feed my beautiful life, including recovery. Like right now, almost every Friday I'm off. Almost every last week of the month I'm off. The last month of the year I'm off, right? But I'm relentless about scheduling that in. I'm relentless about that I will go to the gym every day, that I will shut down my work. Now, are there days that I end up taking a call and Zaina's here or my boy? Yes, right? But my core boundaries are in place. And because of that, I have more freedom. I have open space. I have creativity. I have a meaningful life. So that's where it comes back in, that you need, the masculine and the feminine, or the structure and the flow, the hustle and the flow.
Absolutely.
But like you said, grace with yourself is super important. Because if you're just there beating yourself up over what you didn't do, you're doing more of that dark picture we were talking about, waiting for the moment when you have the perfect day. Let me tell you, when you have the perfect day. I was just talking to a guy friend. He told me, Adora, I just got a check and closed a deal for more money than I've ever made in my entire life. And he said, and it felt like nothing.
Yeah.
And it made me realize that all the work. And he was always saying, I'm working. And I was like, you know what? Good for you. You achieved it. A lot of people never achieve it. But now let's work in meaning, because that's no way to live. And he's like, absolutely, it's no way to live. So he's working in more travel, time for dating, time for, all these things.
Absolutely. And I know we could go on forever, but we're like out of time. So I have one final request for you. You have this special gift. It's a free gift. I just want to emphasize that. And of course, it is the activation. Yes. It is the idea of activating so that you can manifest.
Thanks for wheeling me back in. Yes. Yes. So I have always resonated with words and prayers as activations. I've created a lot through words and words that are energized. And I get a lot of feedback from the people who have worked with me that whenever I'm in the space of speaking an activation or a prayer or an intention, that it's very powerful. So I used to call this a meditation, and then I realized it was more of an activation. It has a lot of energy in it. So I did a specific activation to connect you, male or female. I think I say, hey, ladies in there, though. Okay. So men don't get, I made it for women, but you could use it as well. And it's meant to connect you to your feminine and to activate the ability to receive. And I'm just saying this now. It's usually what I say right in the beginning, that nothing comes into this physical reality. No spirit comes into this physical reality without the the portal is a woman's body, right? It's through the feminine that spirit is made physical. It's through the feminine in spirit is made physical. So we have masculine, we have feminine in all of us, but it's powerful to activate that and to tap into it, especially because we've been living in a predominantly masculine energy for a while. So yes, it's a free gift, and you've got the link there. It'll be in the comments as well, so that you can download it, listen to it right away, tap it. I would listen to it if 3 to 7 days in a row if you're really like resonating with it.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you for that, because I do believe that those activations or meditations, they're crucial. I mean, for me, for the ones I work with, and the ones that I get downloaded, just like you, it is one of those things I think that can really move us forward almost without too much effort, because somehow the energies help us realign completely. Okay, so we're out of time. We're over time. Thank you. I know you got up early. I so appreciate it. I can't wait for the next time we talk, whether that's here or on the Think and Grow Rich tour, which is coming up in June. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody in the audience. And see, fantastic for men to hear. Yes, of course. Yeah, Dan. Thank you, Dan. I'll see you soon, then. Thank you, Adora.
Natalie, you're amazing. Thank you for all the work that you do, for your consistency, for your healing energy out there in the world, for bringing that into the forefront of conversation. So important.
Thank you. All right, everybody. I'll see you Tuesday with, I think, another guest. Bye.